horse just becoming a little bit fast. So in the shouldering, the horse waiting for the rider's aid, quite nice and stable in the positioning, could remain a little bit more up at the pole. And the rhythm changing there, so the change of the circle and falling slightly through the shoulder. And then in the shoulder in on this side, again some variation in the balance, I think, which starts from the horse having perhaps a little bit too much bend at the base of the neck and losing the shoulder at the moment that you want to go into position. Here the travers, the balance better maintained, could have a little bit more bend around the rider's leg, but showing a nice rhythm in the trot. And again, same point on the circle here, just drifting a little bit out through the shoulder before making the change of direction. And there a better position in the travers, the rhythm remaining clear. I quite like the profile in the horse's neck. The horse seems very stable in the way of going. And then here in the walk, the steps are measured, they could be a little bit more active. And now the horse opening, there's very nice reach coming out of the shoulder. In a clear rhythm, it looks very measured. Horse looks attentive and responsive, remaining nicely in rhythm then in the return and remaining on the rider's aids. Okay, just at the beginning looking as if it needed a bit of activity, and I think ran out of steam a bit. Not for me quite sticking, but I'm just more conscious that I'd like to see more activity in the pirouette there. A nice transition into the canter. The horse has a very nice balance in canter. I noticed when it was going around the arena, not that the judge watches before it goes in, of course. I think there's a lot of scope in this canter. It has a nice uphill impression, and it looks very natural still in the counter-canter, which isn't the most attractive of movements normally. It's difficult and challenging on the balance, and I like the way the horse stayed in rhythm here. I like very much the response forwards, and also the return. The horse could be a little bit more up in the shoulder, but always the reaction is nice going forwards, and the balance was good in the return. You can see the horse remaining soft and waiting, remaining on the aids into the correct rhythm. That's a very difficult movement to do. Again, the horse just becoming stuck there, needing more activity, which is a bit expensive on the marks. It's a bit like a 4 faults, I'm afraid. But again, a nice transition going forwards. And the horse, for me, in a convincing balance in the canter, I think he's remained very nice to his neck into a forward contact. The rider always setting the horse up and offering generally a very nice performance, in my opinion. Again, a great reaction forward. Almost so that probably she could ask for less and still achieve a lot without challenging the balance. But also the way the horse comes back has to tell the judge in a convincing way that the horse is very much on the aids. Okay, just having a wiggle there at the end. For me, in general terms, I liked an awful lot about this horse. I was particularly convinced by the stability in his frame, with a very nice neck, always able to show very clear transitions, particularly the downward transitions. Some of these movements are very difficult, and the way it came back and the horse stayed in a nice balance, endorsed by remaining in a very nice rhythm in the walk. I thought that was good. For me, the area where you lost perhaps more marks was in the control of the shoulders in some of the trot work, which we saw, well, I saw more perhaps at that end when you did the change of directions of the half circles, whereas the horse, instead of remaining through a straight bit and taking a new bend, was sort of falling in one direction before he went in the other. From the front, that was a bit expensive. And of course, if you're losing the shoulder, you're leaving the quarters in, you get a little bit of crookedness. The rhythm then is a little bit variable. The same happened a little bit in the shoulder in. So I think that some of it is coming from you making a big effort. Sometimes in those movements, less is more. The response forward in the medium trot and the connected trot, and the medium trot and the medium canter, I thought was very nice. But almost he was so bullet out of the gun, particularly in the trot, that it prejudiced his balance a little bit, and he lost some rhythm at the beginning and the end. For me, it was never an issue of rhythm, it was an issue of balance, but its impact was that it affected the rhythm. But I would hope you would be pleased with that, because it did some very nice work, but I think there are areas where you can add to the consistency and up the game even more.